So wait, I take this thing and I put it under my tongue?
You unscrew the gel capsule just a little bit and just put it right under your tongue.
Hi, this is Cristina Dam, and this is Liberate the Podcast, where we educate, motivate, inspire, and liberate your consciousness.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Liberate the Podcast. Today we are deep diving into VRYEveryday. They're vitamins that are going to make you feel the best and be the best that you can be. And I mean, these are vitamins that literally on one dose, it's the only vitamins that I've ever seen sample packs for, that you can purchase sample packs and they're actually effective. So we have their creator and an entrepreneur, strategist, and, extraordinaire. I read that on your website, so we'll see. But we have Rynda Laurel with us, and so let's talk a little bit about all of those things that you describe yourself as, and then a little bit of, and we're going to deep dive into these beauties too.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
I've Richard Branson posted a couple years ago, break down what you do in 5 words, and it took me like 5 days to figure out what that was, because I've had such a long career in the entertainment industry and the music industry and in all these different places, and then I started doing all these different things, and entrepreneur and all this stuff.
Yeah, entrepreneur, strategist,
catalyst. I like saying exactly. So I broke it down to
inventor, creator,
woo, Renaissance woman. I broke it down to catalyst, turning ideas into reality. So that's what I do as a business. Still, I consult for people and do that. And in this process, I've also, catalyst, that's the catalyst part. And so in this process, which we can get into a little bit later, but I came across, I was struggling with my own depression and addiction issues. I just turned 27 years of sobriety.
Congratulations.
A couple days ago.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I also struggled with depression. Even though I was having this big, fabulous life in the entertainment, music industry, I was struggling with depression on the other end. And so I started doing a lot of research on natural solutions for depression, anxiety, mental health issues. And I basically ended up using natural solutions to get off medication, and now I'm clinical depression free. And what I found in all of this research, which leads to entrepreneur, is that there were a lot of biochemical reasons, in addition to social and trauma and all these other kind of things. But there were all these biochemical things that you can look at that can help support emotional wellness, along with all this other fabulous stuff you do, including the stuff that you guys do here.
Wow.
And what I found was you can do all this great work, groups, meetings, all the sessions you guys have, or even meditation. But if you basically have really low serotonin, or you've got, your B vitamins aren't functioning right, there's a lot of biochemical stuff that we aren't looking at. Mm-hmm. And if you address those, everything else works better.
Yeah.
And so I use specific supplements to help myself. And then I thought, I want to bring this back to people in a way that looks cool and has cool names, and you get the feels in here, and it's easy to understand, but it's all based on amino acid therapy, vitamins, and So,
I mean, they do. They got the bright color appeal. They really stand out, and it tells you what it's going to do. People know right away, okay, yeah, I'm going to rest. I'm going to get some serenity. I'm going to have my dopamine. I'm going to, you feel it.
Exactly. And then the feels are on there. And also, so I'm a native Californian, but okay. I've lived in New York as well, Southern California, New York, Paris a little bit, and then 3 years ago I moved to Joshua Tree.
Okay.
And so that's also sort of here. These are sort of Joshua Tree sunset colors for me too, which
amazing.
Is another layer in that.
I love it. So okay, so you're diving in and you're you're researching and you're saying, okay, well, if I take these different supplements and this amino acids and things like that, and you were using yourself as a guinea pig.
Absolutely, me, and then later a handful of friends.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because I was like, I'm sure then you used other people.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Nick, he lives in Hollywood, so he always buys Pink Cloud from you guys, because he calls me, he's like, I need to go get my Pink Cloud. Before I developed Pink Cloud, he called me, and he was having a really hard time. His people that were guiding him his doctor wanted to put him on medication that didn't feel right for him yet, and so his sponsor, I can say this, his sponsor said, try fish oils, and then he called me because he knew I was developing this stuff.
Yeah.
And I put him on all this stuff, which ended up being all the stuff in Pink Cloud. I put him on like holy basil and St. John's wort and 5-HTP, and I was like, try this, and then the combination really worked. And he never went on meds and everything. Like that's his jam. That's what he uses.
I mean, people come in and they are really attached to these, and I've seen where, as I said in a little bit of the intro, we also have these little sample packs that we carry here.
I call them to-go packs.
To-go packs, sample packs, whatnot. It's like 2-pill little samples, and I at first was taken back. I was like, why are we going to sell these little samples? Don't most vitamin supplements take a few days or weeks to really feel the effect? But to my surprise, after one dose, you feel it.
It's really interesting. It does depend on the supplement and the person.
Yes.
So I don't want everybody has a slightly different reaction. Some people take, dopamine works on the dopamine receptor. So that one I find works pretty fast for people and they feel it right away. And we just, use some glutamine to help with immediate energy source that you feel right. What I find is these Pink Cloud and Serenity, some people feel it right away and some people use it long term for chronic depression, and it kicks in even more cumulatively.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, because then as everything starts to not be as fried out anymore, as there starts to be, not only the need in the nutrients and the amino acids, but a back supply of it too.
Exactly.
Then your body can stop going in fight or flight and have that balance.
Exactly. They're actually building the neurochemicals that need building. And some people need more of that, and some people don't need quite as much. So the people that need it even more, I find this stuff works really fast. I'll take the to-go pack or sample, and they're like, what,
Yeah.
So and especially,
so let's go through them each.
Okay.
Let's look at all of them and tell me a little bit about it. Tell everybody a little bit about each blend and what they're good for, and if they have stories like this one with your friend of creating them.
Okay,
I'd love to hear that.
So first of all, I don't make these in my basement. I work with a GMP sourced manufacturer based in the United States. They've been around 50 years, this company. I sourced with them because I trust their sourcing.
Gotcha.
And they manufacture them for me, ship them to me in Joshua Tree, and then I ship from there.
Okay.
Or bring them to you guys.
Okay.
So that's, first of all, they're all vegan, they're all non-GMO, and there's no gluten or soy. I mean, there's no gluten in this anyway, but you sort of want to say that. So that's the basics for that. Each one is amino acid based or herb based, and that's the overview. And then I started with 5 formulas that when I was doing my research, most people said they had the most issues with. So sleep, depression and anxiety, and mood imbalances like sugar craving drops or carb and sugar cravings, which can cause mental health and anxiety. So basically, I'm super focused on mental health.
Yeah.
Now, when you take some of these, they also interact with other systems, so that can help balance hormones and other things at the same time. But I'm basically focusing on mental health and mood balancing.
Okay.
So Rest Well is pretty simple. It helps you go to sleep at night. It's got valerian root in it, so it's a little stinky. Some people love the smell. It's got valerian root, passion flower, hops, and GABA.
Okay.
And the reason I chose to use that instead of, a lot of people take melatonin, is melatonin is a hormone.
Okay.
in your body, serotonin converts to melatonin, which helps you sleep. So a lot of times melatonin doesn't work for people because they actually don't have enough serotonin in the first place.
Wow.
So that's why I didn't do a sleep with melatonin. I think if you're having long-term sleep issues, if you do Pink Cloud and then use this at night, you can rebalance your serotonin, which helps the conversion to melatonin, which helps you sleep.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. We're learning here.
Right.
So these you take right before bed?
Yeah, those are basically go to sleep.
Okay.
They basically put, help
So it's
you.
your replacement to melatonin.
Or Ambien.
Yeah.
You can take that instead of Ambien. I'm gonna preface all this with, please talk to your doctor if you're on any medication and etc. But Ambien, and you won't have the crazy. You won't tweet at 5 a.m. if you're on Rest Well and not Ambien.
Yeah, and what Prepper says that this is the things that have worked for the people that she's given the feedback for, and so always see what's best for yourself and what works for you that's done in a safe manner.
Yeah, so that's Rest Well. And it's got the feels right here. Feel relaxed.
How cute!
Yeah, they all got the feels.
Okay.
So Serenity, exactly what it says. So Serenity works on the GABA. So I'm like this. Serenity.
I need this one.
So it helps. My customers call that one nature's Xanax. I can't call it that, but you can call it that. It's basically based on the GABA system. So GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter in a system, and it calms you down. It's a lot of physical, so this kind of anxiety.
Okay. So it just calms you.
It calms you. I also found that if I start working out a lot, like all of a sudden, I don't know about you, but I can sort of binge work out. I do it all the time, and then I stop for a while. And I go up on the GABA around that time because it helps calm the muscles.
So if you're an avid fitness worker out and you need your muscles calmed, or you're under a lot of stress.
That's really good for stress and anxiety.
Okay.
Yeah, and that you can use throughout the day. Some people use it sporadically, like if they're having a tough time. And again, some people use it long-term for chronic anxiety.
No, and what made you develop this blend?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't have anxiety. I worked loosely off the guidelines by a book called The Mood Cure by Julia Ross.
Okay.
And I work loosely off those guidelines, and they work on GABA, serotonin, dopamine, catecholamines. There's certain neurotransmitters that are more dedicated to mood balancing. And even though I didn't really need the GABA, I knew a lot of people that did.
Okay.
And so that's why I developed that one.
And the Pink Cloud, we heard the story behind it, but what is this one for? Feeling happy.
Feel happy. Pink Cloud is one of our best-selling products. It has St. John's wort, holy basil, 5-HTP. Basically, if you go to your naturopath and say you're depressed and they want to give you all those, we put them all in. We put everything in one. And it basically builds serotonin. And it also, when you take an antidepressant like an SSRI, an SSRI sort of blocks the uptake of serotonin. St. John's wort does that, but in slightly.
Okay.
And then all the other ingredients mixed with this actually builds more serotonin.
Gotcha.
There's other ways to build serotonin too, in the gut and other ways, but that is one way to build serotonin. And a lot of people it's been discussed over and over that depression can be caused by low serotonin. There's also, you need to balance all these neurotransmitters, but that one can be is for low serotonin. And yeah, I do have a lot of people, again, I think medication is really valuable for a lot of people. So I'm not an anti-medication person. But I do think that we're overprescribed in this country, for sure. So I do have people that have chosen with their doctor to go off SSRIs, Celexa, Prozac, stuff like that. And they lower their dosages, and then they go on Pink Cloud for a while to rebalance.
Wow.
I also have some friends that take Pink Cloud and dopamine if they want to go party for the weekend at Coachella, and they've done some drugs that mess with our serotonin. So I created party packs, which do this, the Pink Cloud and the dopamine. They do that for a month, and it balances everything back out. Is that too much information?
No. So this one's the Feel Alive one, and so we got that this one's about happy and really helping with your serotonin.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between that one and the dopamine?
So that one, first of all, is the one that saved my life.
Okay.
That's the one that I used. The ingredient is, and I hope I'm saying this correct, I should have been doing this company for a year and a half. I say Mucuna pruriens.
Okay.
It's an Ayurvedic adaptogenic herb.
Okay.
And it stimulates the dopamine receptors and helps build dopamine.
Okay.
Now, dopamine is different in serotonin. Serotonin is the feel happy neurotransmitter. Dopamine is the pleasure neurotransmitter. So if you have low dopamine tone or are low in dopamine, either one of those things, where your receptors don't really grab it or you don't make enough of it, you can suffer from apathetic depression. It's a kind of depression where you don't want to deal with anybody. You want to shut yourself down, which is kind of different than low serotonin is more melancholy and anxious and melancholy.
Got you. So you were not wanting to deal with anybody.
I was both, but
Okay.
I was mostly, when the doctor put me on Wellbutrin and it worked for me for a long time, that's when I was like, oh, okay, I finally understand this one works for me. Why? And that's because it worked on the norepinephrine.
Okay.
It's an SNRI. And as I researched more and more and more, I realized I was low in catecholaminae, which is the dopamine, basically dopamine. And so when I found this, there's other ways to build dopamine, amino acid-wise, L-tyrosine, but it was never enough for me. So the dopamine, the Mucuna, was like life-changing.
Yeah.
I take 2 of those in the morning. Dopamine is another one of those of my products that you can take sporadically. You can take it if you're, just want to feel more bright, more alive, and it's fine. It's not a big deal. It's not addictive. And then I have people like me who suffered from that type of depression, who I took it every day, these 2 every day for almost a year when I got off my medication, and that's why I didn't ever have the crash.
Wow. It's powerful.
That one's really powerful. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pretty special product.
And so you're making reference that you can take a couple together.
Oh, absolutely.
Can you take all of them?
Yes.
Okay. So they're not like interacting with each other or anything like that.
No,
So,
in fact, they're all compatible.
and complementary, it sounds like, too.
Yeah, I have people that do different combinations. They're intuitive. My goal is if you take, for example, if you take Pink Cloud for quite a while, you may not need Rest Well anymore. Some people have chronic insomnia. They may need it. I have people that are doing a full detox, or they're getting off medication, or they're any reason where they want to balance all their levels across the board. Absolutely, you can do the whole protocol.
Okay. And what about this one? The little one.
My little glutamine.
The little one. So cutie.
That's L-glutamine. The reason I made that one, it's glutamine is an amino acid that's in the body that is prevalent. So the most amino acids, the highest amino acid capacity in your body. It works on tissue repair and the gut lining, all kinds of things. In this capacity,
Yeah, because I was like, wait, you were saying that most of the stuff is all about mood and that. So I was like,
but in this capacity, and that's why I made a little one, so you could take it with you. We took it, in this capacity, glutamine can help with sugar cravings, alcohol cravings, carb cravings, and hypoglycemic drops, aka the hangries.
wow.
So if you get that, that. And all of those things I just described can be mood imbalancing. They can be imbalancing. And so, again, if I go back to the chart in Julia Ross's book, L-glutamine was one of them that the pioneers of amino acid therapy discussed. And it's all over the internet. You can basically take the L-glutamine. I've made it in little capsules. You can open the capsule, put it right under your tongue. That's the only one you can do that with. And it stabilizes you. It's really weird. I will do it if at night sometimes I'm like, I want cookies or whatever, and I'll do that, and it stabilizes you in a way. What happens is the L-glutamine, if you put it under your tongue, somehow it sort of just gives you an immediate energy source, and your body's like, oh, okay.
Wow.
I'm okay. There's a tiny few people that it might be more stimulating, but you'll know right away. So that's the other reason why I made the to-go packs. So if someone can try the to-go pack, and if they have an adverse reaction or it doesn't work for them, they don't
have the
especially
whole
in
bottle.
This one for sure.
Wow.
But yeah, that's the L-glutamine. I know a lot of people that are sugar addiction is a really big problem for people.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people that have sugar addiction problems really love this one because that. And then also, dopamine also can help with focus.
With focus.
Yeah.
And I think that all of these, they sound like they're safe.
Yeah.
You can use them for long periods of time. You can use them sparingly if you want, just because they are effective. And it's beautiful to see a line that is dedicated to mental health.
Thank you.
Right? You know? And I know that, hearing your story of being 27 years sober, are they geared a lot towards people that have had addiction issues? Because a lot of times the neurotransmitters and things like that can be a little bit...
That's how I start. That's kind of... I'm sorry to interrupt. That's kind of how I started the line, but I'm finding it's hugely everybody...
Yeah.
It is more mental health based, so that a lot of addiction issues, as soon as you take away the drugs, it's all the mental health issues anyway. Mm-hmm. And that your biochemistry is just a little bit more off because you've been abusing your body more. Mm-hmm. So yes, absolutely. And these are, and I'll say it, I've said it a million times, I come within the community, so this is authentic. These are mood balancing, not mood changing, not mood altering. So in recovery, you have no mood altering substances is sort of the thing. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
But sugar and caffeine are mood-altering substances, too, so you have to be careful. These are mood-balancing, not mood-altering. So I'm trying to help that community.
Yeah, you're trying to help everybody balance.
But I also have... Look, I have a couple of really amazing things. Random people I don't know sometimes send me messages. Like, I had a mom send me a private message, that said her daughter, who must be 16, 17 years old, has started taking Serenity before her cheerleading practice. She used to get really bad anxiety, and now she takes Serenity and she doesn't get anxiety anymore, and she's able to enjoy cheerleading practice.
Wow.
That's not addiction. This is just like a mom trying to help her. And she said, I am so thankful that you created something that is safe, for my daughter.
That's beautiful.
I got teary. I got like, no, you're crying, That was really incredible. I have some friends that take Pink Cloud. The sort of side help of Pink Cloud is it kind of can help with PMS. So I've had people with some hormone imbalances that have taken it for PMS and hormone balances. And that's also been pretty incredible. I would say for teenagers, just because I just mentioned teenagers, you have to be careful with Pink Cloud because St. John's wort can interact with some birth control pills and sun. So you have to be a little bit careful with that one for younger kids. I wouldn't do that one with younger kids.
Any others that you have to be careful with for any certain type of, like pregnant women, any type of special populations?
Good question. Pink Cloud, also not for pregnant women. I had a midwife send me a message about them. I would stay away from Rest Well. You can do Serenity. This one, jury's out. I would talk to whoever your practitioner is. Glutamine, anybody can do glutamine. In fact, I'm trying to do some research because I just heard the other day that they're starting to, in the naturopath world, use glutamine for kids that have ADD instead of putting them on meds. Giving them the L-glutamine and see if that helps them. But I'm looking into that a little bit further.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Especially since I feel like every other person's just being prescribed a medication. Here you go. Here
Yeah.
you go. And you know what?
Yeah.
And you know what happens if they don't truly have ADD? It's kind of like it acts as the same type of effect as cocaine.
Yes.
So, so it's like, okay, if you truly do have it, it's going to balance you out. But otherwise, it's going to have a really strong upper effect.
Yeah.
That.
And again, here's something else that I learned in all of this. I started with 5 formulas. I already got like 5 more I want to make now that I've been, studying all this for the last handful of years. And that's why I'm teaching a class on it. But there's other things like... A lot of these things, you go with a symptom and you go to an allopathic doctor, bless them, they don't know all these other things, and they'll test your thyroid, for example, but they only test like the top level of your thyroid, and they don't test all these underlying things. Yeah. And a lot of the functional medicine doctors know how to test for that stuff now. It's hard to get that done. You have to pay for it directly, and there's labs that you can do it directly with now, which is great. I've partnered with a lab that you can get direct testing.
Yeah.
But I've learned stuff like, for example, a lot of people with mental health and lethargy issues have, it's called an MTHFR gene mutation.
Okay.
And it basically means that layman's term, your body doesn't process folate correctly.
Okay.
And also folic acid that's in all the supplements out there, a lot of them, sometimes your body doesn't process that correctly. So I'm going to come out with a methylated B complex, which means that there's an extra methyl in methyl. It's methylated so your body can process it easier. So there's all these things I'm learning. Again, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah, but
I'm not a naturopath. I just play one right here. No, but I've done like the research, I've done the research on this. And so there's all these other interesting things that you have to look at when you're suffering from depression.
Yeah. Of course. And noticing and seeing how everything plays together, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's important to note. It's not saying that we're not sitting here saying that the Western medicine is wrong or bad. It's just that
great.
That there's sometimes a lot of other information that when anything is very specific, they're not looking at maybe sometimes the whole.
Yeah, they're not. It was great. I went to the doctor last year. I had bronchitis, and started talking to the doctor, and he just looked at me and he goes, I'm an allopathic doctor. I don't understand those things. And I thought, what a great thing for you to say, that you were just honest. Like, why should we expect allopathic doctors to know all this?
Yeah.
They aren't taught that way. We should expect naturopaths and we should expect functional medicine doctors to know this and to look at the big picture. There's a lot of stuff that we can do to educate ourselves. There's also a lot of stuff we can do if we go too crazy. Then I've also got like mold and detox. There's all this you have to be careful going down the rabbit hole. I tell you what. But somewhere in between there's a balance, and that's why I've provided these as safe alternatives.
Yeah, and I love that you've seen it work for you, and that you were at that kind of, you said that they saved your life, and so it was healing yourself, and then as you healed, and I'm sure you're then seeing that your friends and the people that you love needed, and they're seeing the effects that you're getting, and so then you're healing all of them, and then you're like, well, there's something to this. Yeah,
and basically I had come up with the concept and the idea, and I moved to Joshua Tree. I had detoxed from my medication with using this, and I made a choice to move to Joshua Tree, and 6 months later I met somebody, and I mentioned this idea. I want to do this supplement line with it, and he was like, he's basically, it's like, well, do you have a business plan? And I said, kinda, I mean, I've done this for lots of people. I've done business plans and stuff, but it's really different doing your own. I'll tell you something. And so he basically said, I'll give you the money to get to market. And that And so that was in 2017, and then I launched in January of 2018. And then I just walked by here one day. I was at a conference doing something else. I walked by here one day. I walked in with my little suitcase, and I said, "Do you guys maybe want to carry these?" And
wow.
And she was like, "Yes, these are gorgeous." And then
here we are.
Yeah.
But it's important to, on a different note from just, the treating and helping balance the emotions and mental health with these, but hearing your story of alignment, right? I'm hearing that you had this life, and I'm not sure what you did in the music industry, but you had this life of success in the music industry. And then you weren't finding your own happiness, and you went down whatever you went through, and you had a transformation. And in that,
that's the good word.
And in that brought you to these vitamins, right? And the supplementation that brought you into your own healing. And then you were literally, here you go on a platter. That doesn't happen to many people, but it happens to people that are in alignment with what you're doing, and you are in that surrender space. I've heard a lot of different stories in my life of being surrounded by a lot of entrepreneurs and people, and that it just, here you go. And I don't want to give people the thing that there's not hard work and there's not that. I mean, you put years into, the formulas and the understanding, using yourself as a guinea pig, doing the things, and just because a gift of financing and bringing to market doesn't mean that there's not a lot of work and effort and energy that goes into it. So don't get me wrong there, but that beautiful synchronicity of
that's
joyness.
That's why I told that part of the story, because it definitely was Joshua Tree this, and now, okay, and then now here's enough to at least get your vision to start, and then my vision started, and this is the beginning of it. And it's just me doing everything currently, so it's definitely hard work for sure. And I still do have some music business clients, I'm happy to say. I get a handful of music business clients that I still work with, and I always get to do this. And what's great is in the last 10 years in the music industry, I was doing a lot of speaking about digital marketing, and I would book, work with talent, and I've spoken all over. It was France, London, Austin, South by Southwest. I've done a lot of panels and speaking engagements and stuff like that, all about music business and all of that kind of stuff. And then I kind of went back underground and launched this, and then this year I sort of came back and I got to speak at South by Southwest again this year, and we did a mental health for the touring musician. So I have a lot of musicians now using the product. So I'm mashing music and mental health now. And then I did I work with a nonprofit called Charity Bomb, and we work with mental health a lot, and so they're mashing Charity Bomb, and we have it's a great show we produce called Strange 80s, which is really fun. And so now I'm sort of meshing those two worlds where I can as well, and I have a lot of musicians using my products, because touring is not easy, being a musician is not easy. So having the two worlds collide is kind of fun.
Awesome. That's really cool. And where can people find you?
Oh, well, right here. No.
Okay. Well, yes. You're going to be doing a class, and you're going to, and there's going to be many more classes. Since we like to keep the content evergreen, take a look, at our calendar and see, we have one coming up, the 24th of June?
24th
of June. But if you're seeing this after then, just take a look, and hopefully we'll have you back maybe once a quarter or something that to share and to, teach and educate and get people excited about being in balance and living their most optimal life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys carry the supplements, which is fantastic. And I also ship anywhere across the country, actually across the world now. I had an article come out in the Telegraph UK, and all of a sudden I've got the UK, Ireland. I know I'm going to miss them, but I think I've shipped UK, Ireland, France, New Zealand now, Portugal, France. I don't know. It's
amazing,
mind-boggling how people found me. It's incredible. I'm so blessed.
And it's just going to grow from there, because I do see that people come in and they're like, oh, where are those vitamins?
I love it. VRYEveryday.com, VRY every day. I wanted to make it like complicated for you. VRYEveryday.com is where you find that. And if you want a little bit more about me, my website is @Rynda, or I'm on social everywhere, just @RYNDA. If you want to find me and message me, or @VRYEveryday, VRYEveryday is all our social media. And if you, that's where you find us.
That's awesome. And if you had to leave everybody with one thing, what would it be?
Don't give up. Don't give up.
Beautiful.
Gets better. Yeah, and that just came to me. Like, I didn't plan that. That's it. Don't give up. That's my message to myself today, too.
Oh, love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Yay.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this conversation, like it, subscribe, and share it with your friends. If you want some more amazing resources on your path of liberation, head over to liberateyourself.com and sign up for our mailing list. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram @Liberate Hollywood, all one word, or Liberate Emporium, all one word. Until next time, liberate yourself.